We're at 80 kmx. We're doing a little jumping drill. We're gonna teach these guys how to do it the wrong way. Ow. Too low of a gear, too much acceleration, last second going up the jump face. Knees too far forward, riding flat-footed. And accelerating too much, last second. Now the other common problem is the guy that's afraid to endo. So the guy that's afraid to endo leans too far back up the jump face, and then what does it cause? It causes an endo. So watch this, I lean too far back, and then you're the guy that's doing a front flip. All right, now we'll do the right way of doing it. So this is gonna be shifting up into second gear, and I'm gonna show them a progression right from the beginning. So nice and smooth. Let the bike come up to you. And this is a great jump to build safely on. So I'm gonna go halfway now. Landing front tire first. Things I'm focusing on, smooth throttle, head forward. All right, now I'm gonna jump at 3/4 right to the bounce zone. Things to focus on here, strong legs on the landing, keeping the knees behind foot pegs, landing on the throttle a little bit. Now a soak up, so this is the next step of progression, third gear. Now this is a scrub. Nothing fancy because it's a small jump. Little movement on the top of the jump face. Now just to show them that this can be done and should be done in practice both directions, now I'll just scrub throttle side down. This isn't the way you'd want to do it on this track, but good to practice. All right, so he probably walked through all this. We had the wrong ways of doing it. Maybe some of those look familiar, right? And then the right way of doing it, just getting more speed ahead of time. I went from first gear, the wrong way of doing it, to second gear, to then those last couple were third gear, right? I don't know if you could hear the difference, but just less RPM. Able to coast the takeoff, I had so much speed. And then the last two, the reason I did it both directions is just to show you guys that for those of you that are starting to get to a point where we're learning how to scrub, we need to learn how to do it both directions. If we're riding this track as it lies right now, it makes sense to go clutch side down, which was the first way I did it. But if this were coming out of the right-hander and going this way, it would make sense to go throttle side down. So just depending on where the jump is situated, you have to know how to scrub the bike either way. I know some of that information is irrelevant to some of you guys that don't need to know how to scrub, but especially the young guys that are maybe wanting to go pro one day, you'd have to know that it is applicable and it's nothing super fancy, but we need to learn how to do it left and right. All the jumps here in my mind are very tiny, so it's done right at the top of the jump face, just really quick. Any questions upon watching that? Anything you guys, I'm gonna do one more demonstration because I didn't do this yet and just show you what a tire tap looks like. Fair? Is there anything else that we wanna work on or learn other than what I've demonstrated so far? Yeah. How do you not air wheelie? So air wheeling usually happens by jumping the way I did the first time, which is knees too far forward on the takeoff, which then compresses just the front end and unloads just the front end, sends you into an air wheelie. Or if you're in the air and you get afraid and you do this and lean back and sit into the bike, it's gonna start to do this like Ronnie Mack and float away from you, right? Yeah. How do you seat bounce? Good question. So I could demonstrate that as well. Seat bounce is the same thing as a preload. So you're, instead of trying to soak up the bike, you're going down with it and then trying to maximize the compression and rebound of that suspension. So the easy thing about a seat bounce is you just sit dead center. The most dangerous thing you could do on a seat bounce, I did it when I was on a 65, on a KX65, my first time ever, and I did a front flip, endoed, is I sat too far back. If you sit too far back, you're gonna compress too much and then fling yourself and catapult yourself over the front. But if you just sit right in the center, you'll be able to naturally compress and load yourself right into a standing position. So I could show you what that looks like.
he's sitting too far back pretty consistently. So I'm trying to work with Griffin on getting forward. I just don't think he recognizes where his butt is on the seat. A couple of things. First of all, shift down the straightaway. Second of all, we gotta get your butt further forward. You're sitting really far back, and what you're having to do to compensate is get your head too far forward, and then we're getting a little squirrely with it. So, and we keep trying it. I just don't think you know where you're sitting. Okay. So what we're gonna do, Coach James. All right, so we're gonna use corner coach.
Oh my God.
These things are super useful.
And when a seat bounce is used a lot, by the way, guys, is in a situation where you come right out of a corner, like in Supercross, and you need that extra bit of oomph, that compression, or even more pop to get up over the jump. So the one thing that you notice different about my throttle, did James mention it yet?
No, I just got into it, but...
is that you are getting on the throttle hard to match the jump face when you seat bounce. So watch, I'm gonna jump this tabletop from right here. Well, I'm gonna at least try it. So you're gonna hear the bike go high up in the RPMs as I'm sitting down, and it's gonna create a lot of pop. You think I can make it from here? All right, here we go.
To answer your question, so when he gets airborne, the bike is eventually going to fall out from underneath him. He needs to land in the standing position, so he's allowing the bike to separate from that position. He's not staying in the seat when he lands. He's got to get back to the standing position for when he lands.
Yep, and what's nice about the seat bounce technique is it naturally puts you in the standing position once you take off, right? So I combined both in that one. I did a brake tap and a seat bounce, so everybody catch the brake tap as well. Hitting the jump from there, didn't think I was gonna make it, by the way, and I did. It is not possible unless you use the seat bounce technique. So it's necessary to learn at a certain point, but for some of you, especially that are not experienced with jumping, do not worry about that yet, right?